Jessica Lawrence is an 18-year-old young lady resident in Abuja. She had relocated from Kaduna, a neighboring state, to Abuja as a result of insecurity and persistent attacks that displaced her family. She lives with a relative. She had come to the Abuja Old Parade Ground to join other school children in marking the Children's Day, which is an event marked 27th of May every year in Nigeria. Sadly, she is currently not in school. Since leaving her hometown, accessing admission into another school here in Abuja has been quite a challenge. And so, she is compelled to just stay at home, wait, and hope for things to improve.
Why are you not in school?
Because of kidnappers.
Kidnappers where?
Angome Dunia, Kaduna.
Okay, well, you are here in Abuja, so how can you explain?
Because it's my father that come and took me. That's why.
Okay, because of the kidnappers?
Yes.
When you were in Kaduna, so you were not going to school at all. What class are you?
I'm SS2.
So what happened? Tell us the story.
Why I'm Kaduna, because of kidnapper, that's why I stopped going to school, because of kidnapper.
They used to kidnap people in your area?
Yes, they used to kidnap people.
Did they kidnap anybody that you know?
Yes, it's 29 people.
Wow, in your community?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that's why your dad brought you to Abuja?
Yes.
So what is your expectation? Do you want to continue your education?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you want to study when you grow up? What do you want to be?
I want to become a nurse.
You want to become a nurse? Why
Yes.
did you choose nursing profession?
Because I like it. I want to take care of people that are sick. I want government to help children, to provide their needs, and to bring them to school.
While Jessica's case boils down to lack of accessibility and acceptability, there are so many other children in the nation's capital with similar cases.
It's so stressful because of the transport. Sometimes if your family don't have money, you have to stay at home because of the too much of the transportation.
Money is too much. The bike people we used to give them 150 every day, so the transport is too cost. For us, they always talk about fuel issues, so we don't have that kind of money.
So when you don't have transport, what do you do?
We used to stand and wait for some cars to stop, then help us. Sometimes we used to trek.
Students have to make use of bike. There's no car for transportation, and the bikes they normally charge a lot. Most times per student you hear them calling 200, 150 and such. And sometimes even when you plead with them, they don't agree. There's no car for easy transportation.
It's not easy for us, like us the students. Sometimes our parents they didn't have money to give us in order to enter bike, and seriously we are suffering from Paduma to this barrack.
Which school do you attend?
Amide Junior Secondary School.
Where is that?
Bara.
A barracks in Asokoro?
Yes.
Why do you go so far to that place?
Because no senior secondary school here.
So how do you feel going so far to school every day?
Bar.
How do you go to school?
Trekking.
You trek all the way from here to barracks?
Yes.
Is it far?
Yes.
Well, how long? How many hours does it take you to go to school? When do you leave home and how do you get to school in the morning?
I leave very early.
Like around what?
7:30.
Then you get to school around what?
8.
Okay. And when you are coming back?
We close to. We reach home 3.
So tell us, do you enjoy going far to school?
No.
Why?
Because most of the times there is no bike. If I was bike to go to school is too scarce and the money is too scarce.
Okay.
They collect 150 for us going.
Okay.
And coming 150.
So if you don't see bike, how do you do?
Sometimes we do trek, sometimes we wait for car.
Okay. So as you're trekking to school, do you enjoy it? Tell us how the experience is trekking to school.
Trekking to school is not good. If I trek, my leg will be paining me. So I don't like it.
And when you get to class after trekking?
When I get to class, 2 teachers have already entered and gone.
So you will miss 2 subjects.
Yes.
And then if you are coming back too, what challenges do you face?
Still the same transportation.
Take, for instance, the case of Veronica Ebel, a mother living in Paduma community very close to the Federal Capital Territory. Just like other parents, our challenge is that the entire community hosting over 5,000 residents have only a junior secondary school to rely on.
Really, the education in Paduma here is some kind of rough because we don't have a senior secondary school here, and even the junior is of recent that we have it. There's no senior secondary school here. Any child that finishes primary school here has to trek either from here to Asokoro or to barracks.
They say the teachers around that side, they are not satisfied with the way they teach them, so they like to come over this side.
The implication being that after junior secondary school, the children can only access the senior secondary education in Mogadishu Military Cantonment located in Asokoro or other neighboring areas, miles or kilometers away from home. This, the residents say, is not only risky but taking a toll on their resources as they have to source transportation for 5 days of every school week and make provision for feeding.
Like how much do you spend every day for just your child to go to school? 1,200.
Yes.
Every day?
Sorry, 4 of them.
Okay, that's every day?
Yes.
So in a week you'll be spending like almost 5,000 naira.
Yes.
Transportation. How much do you make from your business every week?
Every week. You know, say the way the business, as the business they go down, what I have is anything I see. If I make sure I have transport for them to go school, they will go.
So how is this affecting you?
The thing that affects me too much because my business now they go down.
The only thing we are facing here is the secondary school issue. At least if it is primary school and nursery, all those ones, we can have them. They are around here. We have them. At least it's easier for us. But as for the secondary school, it's far away from us. You can see some of our children trekking from here to barracks. And which is not supposed to be like that. Some of us that are doing business that is not bringing much income for us. Training our children to that place, paying their transport every day, feeding them, all those things. It's not easy for us. So we call on the government to, if there is any way they can assist us, they should come and help us.
I am so somehow I felt bad. Let me just say I felt bad anytime I see children trekking from this place we stay to barracks or Metama to school. Here we only have GSS, that's junior secondary school. Sometimes when I'm going to Nyanyan to buy material, I used to help children. I used to pay them transport to school, and they keep on complaining. Sometimes parents will give their children, although they used to give them money for transportation, but they will use it since they are going to school far now. They will just prefer to trek to school so that they will use the money to eat. And when they are coming back, some parents always look for their children. Sometimes they will end up passing away to other places that the parents do not know. But if government can establish a senior secondary school here for them, it will be very good. Because most children, if you go, once they finish from here, for them to go back to SS, or even to write WAEC, some even travel as far as New Nyanya to register for WAEC. One child is living within here. He used to go to school once in a week, that the teachers know where he's coming from. So when it is Friday, he do go and collect assessment to come back, just because secondary school is not closer here. Senior secondary school is not closer here for them to register.
Sometimes I would say to some students it's a challenge to make them learn, but at the same time it's also like a barrier for some students, because most challenges hinder some people from learning. Like some parents cannot afford for transport daily, and some, even when they afford, it's not transport that they will pay in school and other things. So to some it's a challenge, but to others it's like a barrier.
I want to even trek to Panduma tree, because sometimes we come back from work, you don't have single remaining kobo with you. You will stand at the road so that somebody can give you a lift to your junction, then you make it, you trek to your house. Some of them, they don't have that mind to help. So right now, as I'm standing with you, I'm ready to start trekking. And some of my children, they will go along with me, and which is very wrong, very bad.
Now, most worrisome in this long-distance travel to school is the issue of security, which Aunt Kingsley says is a great challenge.
There's a woman I normally make hair in Kuduma 1 here. The son, school at Barrack. So there was a day I was going to this garden to make someone's hair. So I saw people in their streets. What happened? I dropped by to ask what happened. They say is one of my customers' son that they kidnapped him. He just succeeded in calling the father that they kidnapped him or that he doesn't know the people. He was on a bike to the school. Not that he was even trekking. To tell you the risk the children are facing in this place. It's not that he was trekking. He was on a bike alone. Then the other person now sat behind him. So as he was going now, the person behind him now covered him something. They took him to the bush. He succeeded in carrying phone to call the dad. After that, then they collected the phone, but he described the place. So from then, the dad now stand up with some of their neighbors. They went there with policemen, all those things. But to God be the glory, they saw the guy.
So did they pay any money before?
They did not pay anything. They did not pay anything.
So what happened afterwards? They let the kidnappers go?
They ran away.
There was a day I was coming back from school, we were trekking, we had three. Just that roundabout, that Abachaba roundabout, saw 3 heads there.
You saw 3 what?
3 heads.
3 heads?
Yes, the second one we saw one boy. He was calling us, he wore black. We ran away. And the third one is accident.
Okay, so how does this make you feel when that day you saw dead bodies, dead heads?
I was scared. I was very scared. Sometimes if I'm trekking, if I reach that place, my mind will be beating. Sometimes if I want to go to school and I remember that place, the thing will be making me be ashamed. I will be scared. My body will be shivering.
Yeah, you will not feel like
yes. Even the last one that happened last week, a man stopped and was helping students. The man have tinted glass. He was helping students. As he helped the student, now see the student again.
Till today, do you know the students? You know some of them?
Yes.
So, how does that make you feel?
I feel so bad. I want to see them turn back to their parents.
Are you facing any challenges when you are going to school or coming back to school?
Yes.
Well, tell us some of the challenges you face.
Kidnapping, all these accidents, we face them.
Okay. So is there anybody who has had accidents since you go trek to school?
Yes.
Who is that?
My fellow schoolmate.
Your fellow schoolmate?
Yes.
What happened to him?
He was coming to school on Monday in the morning. He was trekking, coming on the road. Then Okada now come and hit him. Now fell on the floor.
His leg now broke?
Yes.
Oh. So how is he now? Is he still going to school?
No.
He's at home?
Yes.
They're not safe now because if you then come back before my man will come down. But as then they go fast, so depend how the road is, I will not feel comfortable.
The society is not too safe now. So if our child goes to school, like me, I have a brother that used to go trek to Barrack. Anytime he goes to school, I'm not at ease, honestly, till he comes back. And I used to check the time. Anything 2 to 3. If it's past 3, he's not home. I used to feel somehow I'm not comfortable. But once he gets home, I'm comfortable because the way the area is now, the society is not good.
I am just appealing and begging our federal government, please do something. If not, insecurity, this problem of insecurity is going out of hands. Children are suffering. Me, I did not pass through this very process of going far to register. Sometimes, before you come back from school, you don't have the ability to sit down, relax, and read. You just come and eat your food and sleep off. The next day, you still trek to school. It's not good. So please, government, help us. We are just begging for your help. Look at the children who are growing up. They are our They say they are the leaders of tomorrow, but please, let's make them feel they are not leaders of tomorrow only. They are leaders of today, because we don't want to born children that will end up being like some of us who are roaming around in the street. Please, government, I'm begging you.
That brings up the issue of accessibility, that despite billions of monies allocated to education, especially in Abuja, the nation's federal capital territory, that should be a model to all states across Nigeria, some children cannot still attend senior secondary schools within their neighborhoods.
This is the FCT where we can use as a model to every other government schools at the state level. But unfortunately, the situation of the FCT, some of the states are even better. Now, for Nigeria to truly enjoy a robust and quality education that will lead to national development, anything short of UNESCO recommendation as amplified in the Abidjan principle is not acceptable. They are projecting 15 to 20% of the total budget of the country to be allocated to basic education. Because if we're able to get the foundation right, we'll be able to achieve education 2030. And looking at SACEFA content, where we advocate for ensuring that every Nigerian child, irrespective of your gender, your ethnicity, has access to free, safe, inclusive education. So this budget allocation is very, very key. That if government really wants to be truthful and do the right thing, they should adhere to that principle of increasing the budget of basic education from 15 to 20%.
The case of the FCT is interesting because the budget of the FCT is passed by the Senate. It is only the FCT that does not have a legislative arm or an independent legislative arm. The 36 states have the State House of Assembly, but the FCT's case, it is the Senate that provides oversight or approves their budget, and then the FCTA implements this budget. That alone is a gap because it does not provide a framework for legal and regulatory and any form of transparency and accountability. So that's why today you hardly find publicly available information about appropriation and releases of intervention or basic amenities in the FCT. And it took the Minister of FCT a longer period to even appoint secretaries, because again the FCT has a minister that represents us. But in an ideal situation, we're supposed to have a mayor. In every other country, cities like the FCT has a mayor. Because what happens is you can hold the mayor to account because there's an election that brings him into office. But the FCT minister, nobody can hold him to account because he's only answerable to Mr. President. Because he's an appointee that sits on the Federal Executive Council empowered by the President. So it is a dilemma for people like us that work in the FCT and engage the administrators here in the FCT.
Of course, stakeholders in the education sector feel it is not a matter devoid of mismanagement or decay.
Corruption is a big part of what is responsible. Two is the fact that nobody is looking at the implication of the fact that we're not investing in Nigeria's future. Because so today, I can speak to you because there was a deliberate investment in my basic education. Because for everybody who is successful, it means the foundation was solid. And basic education is the foundation of every child. So the leaders that we have today do not see investing deliberately in basic education as the future of Nigeria. Because if we don't get it right with basic education, the child would not be able to assimilate knowledge in secondary and in university. So it is just sad and unfortunate that we have cropped up leaders that don't see basic education as a priority and as an investment for our future.
And you know what? Making public school, especially at the basic level, very, very attractive is very simple. We have the resources. We have what it takes to make sure that our children are being protected. But because of corruption, wickedness, greed, nonchalant attitude of it is not my own, my child is not there, whatever that happens to those children is not my business. That is what is keeping us here. Now, the corruption has eaten deep into all of us that we don't even, our conscience is already dead. We don't even consider the consequences of what we are doing to our loved country. All we are focusing is just to make sure at that particular time we enrich ourselves and endanger the life of our children and the whole country entirely. It is a very dicey situation that need a very, very drastic approach.
For the likes of Veronica and other residents of Paduma in Abuja, establishing at least one senior secondary school in the area will go a long way in addressing multiple challenges.
I would like them to establish senior secondary schools for those parents that cannot afford money, like transport for the students. Yes, they should try and help us.
We also need senior secondary school in this place.
So if there is senior secondary school, what would that do for you?
It will help me with my younger ones because it will less transportation for my parents.
If there's anything the government should do, they should try to help us have a senior secondary school so that our children can be safe. Once they finish primary, they can go to secondary, they can go to from junior to senior safe, not going far. And the barracks road, if you saw it, is not too good. There are bushes around, so if they can help us, they should try give us a senior secondary school here.
The thing will help our transport, and at least we use our transport to do something. And the children, I will begin to save some money. Because as the transport now, no need saving.
If they can at least help us, bring some closer to us, like some secondary close to us, and so our children can be placed around here.
It will be very, 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 very important for the children. They will not be stressing themselves to go far, to go and write WAEC, to go and then. It's just an SSCE. It's not something that is too hard for them to establish here for them. Since junior secondary school is here, there's nothing too big for them to bring SSCEs again. So please, it will be very, very good for the children and for the parents. They will not be thinking, their mind will be at rest and at peace.